Welcome back to Quick Films. Today I'm going to explain an episode of an American sci-fi series, X-Files, called Familiar, released in the year 2018. Spoilers ahead, like the video and subscribe. The episode starts at a park in Eastwood, Connecticut, where a boy named Andrew sings a catchy cartoon song while playing in a merry-go-round with his Mr. Chuckleteeth toy. Just then, his mother, Diane, receives a call from another person that causes her to lose focus on her son. Meanwhile, Andrew spots a man masked as Mr. Chuckleteeth meandering in the forest around the park. He shouts for his mother to check out the clown hiding behind the trees, but she is too absorbed in the argument with the caller, telling him to stop calling her. When she turns around, Andrew is gone. Terrified, she screams his name, but nobody calls back. Deep in the forest, Andrew is playfully calling out for Mr. Chuckleteeth, who he had previously seen. Mr. Chuckleteeth hides behind trees and teases Andrew to come after him. As Andrew tries to follow the masked man to different locations, something approaches behind his back at a crushing speed. A few hours later, the cops search for the boy, and one of them happens to be Andrew's father, Officer Rick Eggers. Another cop, Officer Wentworth, finds Andrew's Chuckleteeth toy buried under the forest floor and spots something further on the ground. When the officer takes a deeper look with his torchlight, it turns out to be Andrew's dead body. This devastates Eggers, and he rushes to see his son but is held back by other officers. After this, we are introduced to Special Agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, who investigate the case in the woods. Chief Strong, head of the local police, shows the crime scene to the two agents and explains that the boy was viciously attacked. Scully examines the case file and notes that the coroner has written asphyxiation as the cause of death from a crushed windpipe and fracture dislocation of the cervical vertebrae. However, Chief Strong thinks that it was an animal attack. He says a new predator, a hybrid between a coyote and a wolf, called the Kai-Wolf, might have killed the poor boy. As the chief explains his theory, he also expresses his concern about the involvement of the FBI in such a typical case. Hearing this, Mulder clarifies that only the Bureau has jurisdiction over the investigation of the killing of an immediate family member of a law enforcement officer. Upon hearing this, Chief Strong is taken aback and he trades glances with Officer Wentworth, shocked by the fact that the FBI thinks this is a murder case. They immediately dismiss the theories of special agents as baseless assumptions, so they ask Mulder and Scully why they believe it to be a murder case. Agent Mulder initially suggests that the culprit could be a Kai-Wolf, or more exotically, a hellhound, a large black dog that guards the gates of the underworld, but Scully proposes a profile of a serial offender, aged 19 to 42, who lives in a nearby area or frequents the park. She further suggests that the man would know Andrew's play schedule, and most disturbingly, would get aroused at the suffering of their victims. Hearing this, Chief and Wentworth again exchange glances, unsure what to believe. Mulder then asks the officials to see Andrew's body. Later, when Mulder and Scully return to their car, Mulder shares that strange things have happened around the town. He goes on to explain that in 1658, a Puritan midwife named Goody Bishop was accused of witchcraft and lying with the devil. The woman then spontaneously combusted in front of a crowd, but Scully, who is also a medical doctor, doesn't believe Mulder's story as no one can spontaneously combust, and thinks that the poor woman was probably a victim of religious persecution and hysteria. Mulder, however, still feels that there are practitioners of the black arts who are directly linked with Andrew's death. In the next scene, Andrew's body is brought in for an autopsy. During the process, Mulder observes that there are neck, throat, and torso injuries, and the lower abdomen is completely torn out and missing. She also notes that Andrew has a crushed windpipe and vertebrae, which matches the case file given by the local police officers. On the other hand, Mulder finds a substance resembling salt on the boy's ankle. He checks the case file to see if there has been any mention of the substance, but doesn't find anything. He also speculates that there was an eyewitness who happened to be the daughter of Chief Strong. Meanwhile, the whole town gathers at Andrew's funeral. Andrew's mother, Diane, is affected by the fact that they can't even do the funeral properly without her son's body. Chief Strong tries to talk with Diane and apologize for her loss. After the funeral, Officer Wentworth tells Andrew's father, Officer Eggers, that a serial killer, as described by Special Agent Scully, might be the culprit behind his son's death. At the Strong household, Mulder interviews the chief's daughter, Emily, who was with Andrew at the park. Emily sits with her mom, Anna, as Mulder tries to get information from her. She reveals that when she was in the park, she had seen Andrew going to the forest. After the short interview, Emily watches her favorite show, Bibbletiggles, as Mulder and Anna talk about the incident. Soon after, Emily asks her mom for some juice while Mulder looks at the books in the living room. He notices that they have several books on the town's history, which includes the witchcraft trials. One of the books, named Gilmore of the Eastwood Witch, catches Mulder's eyes. Just then, the TV starts blaring the Mr. Chuckleteeth song. Seeing this, Emily turns around and tells Mulder and her mother, Anna, that she saw Mr. Chuckleteeth in the forest before Andrew was killed. Back at the police station, Officer Eggers searches the sex offender database and finds a man named Melvin Peter, who is a convicted felon. Officer Eggers is convinced that this man is the one who killed his son. In the next scene, Scully enters the chief's office to report her findings. When she and the chief go to look for Officer Eggers to confront him about the incident, they run into Officer Wentworth, who says that he just saw Officer Eggers leave the station in a rush. They walk outside and spot Eggers racing away in a patrol car. Chief Strong and Scully get in another patrol car and chase after the officer. During the run, the chief orders Officer Eggers to pull over, but he doesn't listen to the command. Officer Eggers reaches Melvin Peter's house, breaks in, brandishing his gun, and calls for Peter. A while later, Chief Strong and Agent Scully also enter the house but see no sign of Peter. Officer Eggers is furious as he cannot find his son's suspected murderer. In the meantime, Mulder is in the woods looking for some clues at the crime scene. As he calls Scully to tell her about his whereabouts, he sees a majestic black hellhound staring at him from a distance. Scully urges him to come to Peter's house, as some developments have occurred. Later, Mulder shows up and searches Melvin Peter's house with Scully. The team discovers numerous pictures of Peter performing as a clown at children's parties. Soon, Mulder opens a closet door to find a monkey rattling inside a small cage. He jumps away from it and discovers clown costumes, a Mr. Chuckleteeth mask, and shoes in the closet. Meanwhile, back at Chief Strong's house, Emily continues to watch her favorite show, Bibbletiggles, while her mother, Anna, prepares lunch. Right then, Emily spots a Bibbletiggles standing outside the door. Her mother calls to her to turn off the TV, but when the little girl doesn't respond, she goes to check. There, she is taken aback to find Emily missing. A few hours later, Mulder and Scully pull a jacket away from a body, revealing it to be the dead body of Emily, killed in the same way as Andrew. Mulder looks miserable, as he had just talked to Emily in the morning. Emily's mother, Anna, runs to the crime scene only to discover her daughter has been killed. As her husband, Chief Strong, tries to stop her from seeing Emily's dead body, Anna blames him for the horrific incident. At the crime scene, Mulder notices that there is a salt circle around Emily's body, suggesting the use of witchcraft. She tells Scully it's a magic circle to summon spirits and demons. He then explains that when casting spells or curses, the salt protects the summoner or caster from unleashed demons. And during the 16th and 17th centuries, witches used to conjure spirits called familiars, which usually take the form of animals. Still, they sometimes could take the form of humans in the guise of the victim's passionate desires. While setting aside leaves on the ground, Mulder discovers that the crime scene is a Puritan graveyard where spirits and demons have been unleashed. However, Scully doesn't believe that witchcraft is behind all these murders. In the meantime, Peter has returned to the neighborhood. Mr. Eggers pulls Peter out of his car and attacks him, accusing him of killing Andrew. In the woods, Mulder walks up to Chief Strong, who knows witchcraft is involved and that Peter is not their suspect. Mulder thinks that the chief closed the case to hide the witchcraft and that it was associated with Andrew's murder. He confronts Chief Strong and forces him to admit he has been unfaithful to his wife. The chief then reveals that he is an adulterer who was seeing Andrew's mother, Diane. Diane wanted to end the relationship, but he wouldn't let her. It turns out that the man who phoned Diane just before Andrew went missing was actually Chief Strong. Carrying the weight of his daughter's death, the chief breaks down and blames himself for all the horrendous acts that have happened in the town. Mulder and Scully now believe that someone has put a curse on the town and opened the gates of hell. At the park, a crowd is gathered around Officer Eggers, who is brutally beating Peter to the ground. He keeps shouting that Peter is the one who killed his son, but Peter defends himself, claiming that he has never killed anyone. Officer Wentworth tells Eggers to stop, but he refuses, and the people around him are urging him to keep beating the man. The furious crowd also starts hitting Peter, accusing him of murdering the innocent child. Soon after, the other officers arrive and try to disperse the crowd, but it is still too much of a mess until Mulder fires his gun in the air. Officer Eggers leaves Peter for a while, but suddenly pulls his service gun and shoots Peter in the head. The movie then cuts to a courtroom, where the judge puts Officer Eggers on bail, despite the apparent murder. After the hearing is done in the courtroom, Mulder and Scully spot Officer Wentworth, who discloses that Peter was performing at a birthday party 40 miles from Eastwood when Andrew disappeared. Therefore, there is no way that he could have murdered Andrew. After Officer Eggers is put on bail, he goes home to confront his wife, Diane, about an affair she had with Chief Strong. Diane asks her husband to forgive her, but Eggers refuses her request. She then leaves the house and drives to a freeway. There, she runs into a hellhound in Andrew's form and flips her car when diverging to avoid hitting her son. In the next scene, an enraged Officer Eggers drives to Chief Strong's house. He kicks in the door, calling out for the chief, but instead encounters Mr. Chuckleteeth. Officer Eggers then goes to the living room, where the TV turns on and plays a demonic version of Mr. Chuckleteeth's cartoon. He chases Mr. Chuckleteeth to the front of the house, where he finds Chief Strong has come home and is now pointing a gun at him. A while later, Mulder and Scully arrive to find that Chief Strong has shot Officer Eggers dead. After fleeing his house, Chief Strong finds Diane's overturned car on the road and follows what appears to be Diane into the woods, failing to notice her mauled corpse in the forest ground. Mulder and Scully visit the park where Andrew disappeared and head into the woods with their flashlights. Meanwhile, Chief Strong gets deeper among the trees looking for Diane. He then finds his wife, Anna, standing in a salt circle in the woods, holding a grimoire. Anna reveals that she intends to finish what she has started. This is when it dawns on Chief Strong that his wife summoned the demon to get revenge on Diane for the affair. Right then, the hellhound comes from behind and kills him. In the next scene, Mulder and Scully find Anna standing over Chief Strong's body and rush over to stop her. With the hellhound also behind them, the special agents try to convince Anna to drop the book, but she is determined to stop the curse. She casts another spell, suddenly causing her to burst into flames and die. The grimoire lies over Anna's flamed body and shows the picture of the summoned hellhound. A few moments later, the magic has been cast back to the underworld. The cops gather once more around the park to process the events around the death of Anna and Chief Strong. Scully delivers the grimoire to Officer Wentworth, explaining that somehow the book didn't burn. She then asks Mulder to leave town, fearing something else will occur. As they drive away from the chilling place, the merry-go-round where Andrew last played starts spinning slowly on its own.